What's up, guys? My name is Sayorius, and today is a very special video I've been wanting to make for a while now. No. What do you mean? Why is everyone some sort of mastermind? What is this? One of my favorite shows, if you don't know, is Detective Conan. And it is probably one of my favorites from an animation standpoint, from a historical standpoint. We're going to get straight into that, and I'm going to talk about why I think the show does episodic storytelling the best. So, without further ado, let's get right into this video. Detective Conan is a fairly simple plot. It's this kid detective, or teenager in a kid's body. Watch the first episode, it kind of explains it. And he's sort of forced to sort of use his abilities, his intellect, to solve these mysteries while being like incapable of doing the work himself as a detective because he's a child. I'll just let you guys in on a secret. I'm not the biggest fan of episodic storytelling, which, if you don't know what that is, examples of that are SpongeBob, Fairly Odd Parents, and it's basically when a television show takes the format of sort of sporadic individual stories and kneads them into a show that kind of repeats the same characters. And you see this constantly time and time again with sort of adult animation to sort of just animation at large, where it's constantly repeating over and over again with no true progression going on. And I am not the biggest fan of this format. I am more of a serialized storytelling kind of guy, which, if you don't know what that is, it's basically every normal story. It's you have to go from point A to point B and the characters change over time. I mean, big examples are Full Metal Alchemist and Hunter x Hunter. Just the biggest examples. But what's really cool about this is that Detective Conan manages to be one of the very few rare exceptions where I will actually actively enjoy episodic storytelling. And the way they do it is fairly simple. They take sort of just the individual stories that cover just an episode. For example, it's a detective show. It's a murder mystery show. So each episode is based off a case, which you already have it sealed and done. You already know what you're going to do for the 24 minutes that you're with the audience. But what they also manage to do is they manage to take that and improve upon it by interweaving this long-form narrative, a goal for the protagonist to chase, and this is probably one of my favorite aspects of the show. And here's why. The first episode, you get introduced to sort of the main character, which is Detective Conan, or Conan Edogawa. And what's really interesting is what they do with the character is they take him as a character and pit him against this big force, this evil group of people. I won't spoil it, but I'm just going to call them the Illuminati. It is his goal to try and take these down because they are buried in secrets. They're involved in so many different cover-ups. And his job as a detective is to uncover their evil doings and kind of solve every case as they come. Now, what's interesting about this premise is, although that does happen occasionally from episode to episode, it happens spread out. And this show, just so you know the amount of episodes that the show has, it's over 1,000 episodes. It's basically like Murder Mystery One Piece. But what's really interesting is what they do is they space it out, and then almost every single episode is this individual story. So when you get that gold nugget, it's like, oh, this is the A plot, and then they follow it, and there's progression, and there's a little bit of progression, and it's back to sort of normal, just case by case murder mysteries. And then that's how they kind of go about writing the show, is they take it case by case, and then they kind of underline this thread. And it happens by random. You don't know when it's going to happen. I've been watching it like episodically, so every single episode, but like the time they were released, I was watching them. And every single time I realized how great it was they were just incorporating this over and over and over again. And I think this show does what the show also does great is, in addition to having this A storyline that kind of is in the background slash occasionally appears throughout the show, they also have this introduction of new characters. So you already have sort of all these new characters they introduced at the end of season 1, but then they also continue to add individual new characters as the series progresses. The world is expanding, and I absolutely love this because you get to explore more stories about characters' motivations, their backstories, their own motivations. Sometimes you follow them for a couple episodes as well. And by the end of it all, you start to realize that this show has become so long lasting, has still maintained that fan base because it's so focused on expanding the world, exploring the world, adding more to the world within the format of the episodic storytelling within TV. And I think it's brilliant. And to make things more interesting, some of the characters they introduce are some legends. For example, they have Hedgie, which is one of the detectives, like one of the most famous teenage detectives, which rivals our main character in West Tokyo, and he's, well, Detective Conan's more East Tokyo, and so he'll show up for a couple episodes. They'll have banter, and then they'll like go their separate ways. But whenever he shows up, it's a treat because you're like, ooh, this interesting character dynamic is reintroduced, and it's almost like they're old friends. They also introduce like this policeman who works at the agency that he occasionally shows up, and he's really nice to the main character, and it's just a pleasure to see him. He has his own struggles with his love life, and also probably the most badass character of all time, and that is Kaito Kid. Now, I don't know if you know about this, but this character was introduced in this show, and he is a phantom thief, one of my favorite archetypes in terms of fiction. And what's really cool about him is he'll show up for a couple episodes, and what's great is that he can disguise as anyone. So Detective Conan will make a remark saying, I think he's here, and you don't know which character he is among the murder mystery that's happening. So by the end, it gets revealed who he was, and he kind of disappears. Or another one, which is my favorite one, is the crossovers with him, where he tries to steal like a jewel from a museum, and Detective Conan has to stop him. It's great. And then he also gets a spin-off too, which I watched and completed. It was absolutely amazing. I love Kaido Kid, and he has one of the most sickest designs in terms of characters. Alright guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate your support. If you want to see last week's video, you can do so right here. I talked about the Crunchyroll Anime Awards. Also, if you want to be updated on my videos, I post every Thursday, so please hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell to be notified. My name is Sayorius, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!